Young girl in pyjamas among migrants crossing the channel illegally. But it was a young girl in pyjamas, and it was heartbreaking, so that's all that counts. She was amongst at least 3 children seen being brought ashore as migrants continued to cross the channel illegally after illegally squatting in France with the intention of illegally entering the United Kingdom, supposedly. A charity described the news as heartbreaking as it renewed calls for the government to establish safe and legal routes for those making dangerous crossings to the UK amid the coronavirus outbreak. So let me get this straight. You're now using the coronavirus outbreak as an excuse for the establishment of safe and legal routes to be implemented in order to ensure people that have traversed the European continent and illegally squatted in Calais and Dunkirk are able to get over here easier. Safe and legal, of course. That takes you back to Juncker, all the way back in 2017 in the midst of the migrant crisis, quote unquote. Juncker calls for migrants to have legal pathways to reach Europe. And of course, where did he get that from? He was referring to the Migrant Compact, which was signed not too long after that, about a year later. Sustainable Goal 10, as I've touched upon many a time. If you come all the way down to the targets, indicators and targets, you will find 10.7, facilitation of safe, regular, orderly and responsible migration and mobility of people, including for the implementation of planned and well-managed migration policies. Now all of a sudden we have all of these lefties that are in charge of all of our countries who have all begun implementing the Sustainable Development Goals, talking about migration continuously. And on top of all of that, we have charities and so-called independent NGOs and think tanks banging on to no end about safe and legal routes for these people to get here. And they talk about the harrowing plight and the ordeal. They try to use children to convince onlookers that it's the right thing to do. It's colonization. Anyway, so let's continue here. Border force intercepted. We're back to intercepted again. I mean, let's just do something very quickly here. Using one hand, so bear with me. Intercept definition. Let's see. To stop, deflect or interrupt the progress or intended course of. Intercepted 5 small boats. And what did they do when they intercepted said small 5 boats? Well, they took them here. So how is that what would be considered an interception? At least 3 young children are among the group, according to witnesses. Oh, that's good. Pictures show immigration enforcement officials wearing masks and gloves leading women and children and men. Include men. You won't. Why are you so when you talk about children and women? Anyway, one young girl wearing Disney-style princess pajamas. What sort of irresponsible parent takes their child across the English Channel on a boat that they supposedly obtained of a smuggler in pajamas? You know, nobody want to talk about that. It's harrowing. It's so sad because there's a child in pajamas. The parent put them in pajamas. I suppose they're not irresponsible, are they? Because they knew fine well that they would be met halfway and then taken here. So, I retract my previous remark. The Home Office confirmed that there were 55 males and 21 females who said they were Iraqi, Iranian, Yemeni, Syrian, Kuwaiti, but refused to say how many children were what part of Syria are any of those countries. This is getting ridiculous. Oh, Jesus, the Tory party is supposedly going to reduce immigration. I'm doing a great job. They were handed over to immigration officials and given a health check, but were not tested for coronavirus. Wonder why that was. In a separate incident, French rescue teams, they're called rescue teams now, are they? Were called out to sea after a group of 16 migrants had thought to have gone overboard. Oh, no. But by 8 AM, they were all found unharmed, having come ashore on various beaches near Calais in the northern part of the French coast. And the Coast Guard for the region had said, and were they taken in for questioning as to how they managed to obtain the boat that they supposedly capsized off? No, of course they weren't. They were dumped right back where they started, and then tomorrow they'll try again. It also says Stephen Hale, the chief executive of charity Refugee Action. They're not refugees. They're not refugees, so shut your mouth. It's heartbreaking that people, including young children, are having to risk their lives to seek refuge in the UK because they didn't want to seek refuge in France or Sweden or Germany or Austria, or Holland, no, Denmark, Sweden. No. They're illegally squatting in Calais, and every country that they traverse to reach Calais, little by little, that definition of refugee was whittling away like a snake shedding its skin. They're not refugees. So why should we provide them safe and legal routes to get here? Well, I know why we should provide them safe and legal routes to get here. Because of Sustainable Goal 10. That's what this is really all about. More routes for people to claim protection in the UK must be created. These people are in such despair and they're in danger. They need to be here. We need to commit to resettling them. We need more routes for them to get here because they're not protected in France, you see. Why is no pressure being put on France to take them in? Or in fact, why is no pressure being put on France to deport them? Why are they there? The news comes after, including a long-term commitment to resettle 10,000 refugees each year. It's got to fucking stop, man. It's got to stop. The news comes a week after another 73 migrants tried to make the crossing to Kent. Did they get stopped? Did their boat capsize? Or did they get there? With prompting the Home Secretary, Priti Patel, to say she was determined to stop illegal channel crosses. Whether you are or not, many people seem to have been won over by Priti Patel, but she's not done anything. The same as Baldy Javid did nothing. Boris Johnson's done nothing. Theresa May did nothing. None of them do anything. I will not stand by whilst malicious criminals prey on the vulnerable. No, it's not malicious criminals preying on the vulnerable. Because if it was malicious criminals preying on the vulnerable that you wish to stop, then you would be demanding that these people explained just how they're obtaining these boats. Nobody asked these questions. You do not need groundbreaking research to debunk these little narratives that they have going. It's bollocks. But her pledge prompted charity leaders to call for the government to rethink its approach. But these charity workers and leaders and whatnot, they don't focus on France. They don't beg Mr. Macron to take them in. No. With one even having the audacity and the arrogance to tell Miss Patel to stop chasing unicorns. Burn. At least 829 migrants have made it to the UK so far this year. 829 illegal migrants that were supposedly intercepted have traversed the English Channel, been met halfway by our border force, and have all been resettled in the UK after attempting to reach illegally. Organised crime gangs are facilitating illegal small boat crossings. No, they're not. Lies. It's our government and the French authorities working together. That's the only logical explanation. This has been going on since they signed the Migrant Compact way back in December 2018. And ever since that winter, this has been going on and it's not stopped. Border Force, Immigration Enforcement, policing teams and the French authorities are working around the clock to bring them to justice and stop the criminal activities. Well, how about you stop the people that provide them with the boats? But you can't do that because you're the ones providing them with said boats. If these people are able to provide these people with boats, these smugglers, the smuggler criminal network, then first and foremost, every single time they're allowed to enter the UK after you quote-unquote intercept them, you're aiding and abetting smugglers. But on a more serious note, if they are really out there, these dastardly little smugglers with their criminal organisation, then you should be doing everything in your power to find out where they store these boats that they manage to pluck out their little arseholes. Because it stands to reason that there's containment somewhere of them. What happens to the boats after they're intercepted? Do they just play pass the parcel with each other? France and Britain. I don't know. More than half of these arrived in the last month. So 451 at least have arrived this month alone. We are 4 months into this year and almost 1,000 illegal migrants on top of the migrants that have been coming in illegally that we're not being told about. It's thought almost 2,000 migrants made it to Britain in 2019 illegally. Earlier this week, the Home Office announced that UK and Greece had signed a migration action plan, pledging to work together to tackle illegal immigration in Europe. Is that so? I'll look at that later. The department refused to provide specifics of the plan other than to confirm a border force cutter would continue to patrol. But what's the point of that? Because they're being allowed entry anyway. Meanwhile, Dame Emma Thompson and other stars have backed calls for the Home Secretary to end restrictions which could prevent thousands of migrants in the UK from accessing financial support. A video published on social media by the Home Office said Border Force was tackling migrant crossings on all fronts. Well, you're doing a really great job. Really great job. I'm so proud. I'm so proud of you all. Keep up the good work.